Welcome back to another episode of the Live Boundless podcast. This episode is called Neighbors because we don't know our neighbors and we should know our neighbors. And I strongly suggest that if you don't know your neighbors, talk to your neighbors, check on them, see if they need anything, especially in these crazy times like COVID. Forst is my guest on this episode, and he's my neighbor. And I've had casual conversations like all of you have had with your neighbors. Hello, goodbye, how's it going? The people upstairs are noisy and, casual conversation. But I invited Forst into the studio, and I wanted him because he told me his background experience was in sound. And I wanted him to check out my equipment and give me some tips, some pro tips, and, go over it. And it's so interesting how little we know about our neighbors. Literally having this conversation with him opened up my eyes on where he's from, how many things we have in common, what his wife does, the stuff we watch, the stuff we do. Like, we have so many things in common that I strongly believe that if I would have seen him as a neighbor for 10 more years and didn't have him on the podcast, I never would have known these things. So anyways, I strongly recommend you talk to your neighbors. Hopefully this will inspire you to do so. Again, my guest name is Forst McBride. We talk about sound equipment, production, what brings people to Los Angeles, what his wife's doing, and drinking rum and coffee in the morning, and much more fun stuff while drinking beers. Make sure to check out the YouTube channel. And before we get started, this episode is brought to you by Ride Clean, the simple and easy way of keeping your motorcycle and car clean with one product. You can wash, clean, polish, and seal, get UV protection, and a mirror-like finish. Check them out at rideclean.co. Use promo code RBPodcast for 25% off, plus free shipping, microfiber, and some extra goodies. That's rideclean.co. So here we go. Forst, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I invited you because you have experience in the audio film industry. What is your background?
So I went to school for film and then landed in doing sound for that. So boom mopping, sound mixing, basically started out doing on-set like recording. And then as far as post-production goes, I started out doing dialogue mainly, but kind of transferred into doing all the above.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Any big movies? Any big sets you've done? Or more private?
I've done a couple like features, but nothing really that big. There was a trilogy that I did boom mopping on that was for a big like stunt coordinator. He is basically was trying to do like a directorial debut.
Nice.
But
yeah.
So
it introduces, opens up other doors, and you start doing different things, and you get practice and stuff.
Yeah.
Are you doing that full time?
I actually pivoted away from that about like over basically since COVID. So the industry was like pretty shut down for a while. My business partner with that got a job doing game sound because we actually also did post-production for like virtual reality and stuff like that.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But so
intense.
that like pivoted him to game audio. So he got hired on with EA, working on Madden, and then
that's huge.
Yeah, and then here I am. I switched
Staying
over to web development and all the other random stuff I do. So
it's hard because you try anything you try. You have to be consistent. I tried to do real estate a while ago, and I was going to do the test and blah blah blah, and then everybody was like, "Dude, there's houses, and it's in bad business, and it's not what it was." And this was like 15 years ago, and it's like every year it just got better and better and better. And yeah, there's little downturns, but it's just you build up experience. But if my point is, if you don't stick to it, then you realize, fuck, man, that was a bad opportunity. And then that's the other thing. So many people try to turn you away from it. Sometimes it's your significant other. Sometimes it's your friends. They're like, oh, man, production's hard. Or the movie industry, you know, they pick and choose. And, you know, you got to know somebody or you got to have a family member. And you know what? That's bullshit. At the end, yes, it helps. Off the bat, it helps. But long term, if you just continue doing it, you know, you just get better and you meet one person, that person meets another person. You just continue growing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's honestly been my problem in life, I guess, is I've always been a jack of all trades type of personality. Constantly have my hands in like too many different pots, trying to do a lot of different things. So
what do you want to do? I mean, like if right now you could start off blank and just be like Joe Rogan has this one thing that I like about he says, be the hero of your own movie. Yeah. You know, let's say you just woke up today and you are the hero of your movie and you're in the situation you're in right now. Yeah. What would the hero of your movie do right now? And what would you do right now? If you can flip it around and say, I feel passionate and I want to continue and do this, what would it be?
Yeah. I mean, I think self-producing would be huge. My wife, you know, Erin, does, she's an actor, comedian. And
oh, nice. I didn't know she was a comedian.
Yeah. Stand up.
Cool. I used to do stand up. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, that's our nightlife basically.
Oh, that's awesome. You guys are doing open mics and stuff?
Yeah, she does. She's talked me into a handful of them, but, I'm not as big of a speaker.
Yeah.
So.
But that's also, if you suck at something, it's because you haven't practiced enough.
Yeah.
It's the truth of the matter, you know. I have my 3-year-old, and then I have a 13-year-old from a previous marriage, and you know he just moves forward, and I tell him, hey man, you suck at something. It's just because you haven't practiced enough. Like keep moving forward, and now he's doing all kinds of stuff. He's already done some TV stuff, some radio stuff, but in the Spanish network because his mom is a TV news anchor for the Spanish TV stations.
Yeah.
So she has a lot of connections, but he's doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But what would you do?
I mean, yeah, compiling a team of people that I think are talented and just making content with them, it would be my dream. I kind of call it the Monty Python model.
Okay. How's that work?
So, if you're not familiar with Monty Python, they're a British like filmmaking group from kind of the old days. So, like Monty Python and the Holy Grail is probably one of the most popular movies that they've done, but they did sketches and all sorts of content. And so it was just a group of friends that would basically rotate like the jobs that they did. So they would share, like one person would say like, hey, I have this movie I want to direct. How can you guys help? And then like another one would direct their own thing. So they were just there and help each other doing, you know, different
getting projects and assisting with whatever that needs to be done.
Yeah. So it's
like kind of like the executioners or something, you know, like, or we're tied up or we're stopped or we don't have enough equipment. We don't have enough manpower. We don't know. You guys come in, clean up.
Yeah. So
do you have a team?
I mean, I have a lot of friends that, I know are really talented and stuff. It's just trying to figure out how to make it happen. And I mean, a big one is always capital. So how do you take the time out of like your day, your jobs, and different things?
You take time out of your day and you do that.
Yeah,
that's. I have a friend of mine. He used to do some directing and producing. He stopped because he didn't like asking for money or looking for money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's part of it.
Yeah.
That is part of it. It's knocking on doors, it's going to meetings, it's seeing people and asking for money for these projects. And people have the money.
Yeah.
You know, my wife and I, we both went to Pepperdine. One of the first things we learned getting our MBA, you know, it's so silly, but one of the first things that stuck out was ask for help. People want to help. Like I've struggled with my setup by myself, and it's funny because I've had people multiple times reach out. You've reached out.
Yeah.
Many people have reached out, and people want to help. People want to partake. People want to assist. You know, they get a kick out of it, and they feel good, and you build a network. But we're so, like, I can do it, or I don't want to do it that way, or, You know,
Yeah.
like even starting the podcast, I didn't even want to start the podcast till I had the mics that I wanted and the equipment that I wanted. And if I would have continued that mentality, I never would have started. And now if you listen to the first few episodes, now this is going to be episode 60 something. You know, if you listen to 1 through 10, it sounded like dog shit, you know, but it obviously gets better and better. So what steps do you think you need to do to execute your plan? Just make more time?
Yeah, I mean, finding a project to get behind. So writing something or figuring out kind of a with Erin's comedy stuff, we could. She's talking about like the idea of producing comedy shows. So that's a little different than personally my vision, but you know, I'm
but it
behind
keeps you
helping
busy.
her out, and so that could be one aspect, and then part of that could be developing sketches, so like comedy sketches for online or whatever. There's a lot of different platforms that are pretty new.
Well, the other thing is you have YouTube.
Yeah,
You can create, you can make something every day.
Yeah,
And just put your branding behind it, you know?
yeah. Well, and
You
there's
could give tips. You could just do YouTube videos and do tips of like, hey, having trouble with production. Like do like a commercial, but also an informative commercial where it's like you're teaching somebody how to do something.
Yeah.
But if you need professional help, email us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so
What
many.
the fuck are you doing for? Come on, man. I know it's hard.
No, it's.
I'm teasing you,
yeah.
but I've been through it.
No, it's good to get the push because I don't know. It's the last couple of years have been hard not to get depressed about.
But for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Totally.
We just started a war today.
I've been trying not to watch too much about it.
Don't. It's too much.
Yeah.
We have to ignore that.
Yeah. It's like I feel like I go like a couple weeks without watching like any news just because there's so much going on, and then I just have a day where I just binge and like just am like depressed for a couple of days, and then
it's fucked up because they really push it down our throats.
Yeah.
The amount of news, and I've said this on many episodes before. I've done a lot of traveling and gone to, I've been all over the world. And it's the number one thing that I notice as soon as I leave the U.S., you don't see any news.
Yeah.
You don't see news. You don't even know what the fuck's going on. Nobody cares. Everybody's living their life. Everybody's moving forward.
Yeah.
But the moment you get here, Facebook, NBC, Fox, this alert, that alert, this news app, Instagram, there's so much information being pushed towards us that it's bothersome. And it makes you think like, well, this is really controlled or some kind of agenda or something.
Well, and it's so sensational. I mean, it's just money. I mean, I not to bash capitalism or anything, but that's kind of the financial, it buys views, like making it emotional. So that's the drive and the motivation I feel like behind it. Like,
but it's a U.S. thing, and here's the thing. I mention it a lot because a lot of people don't get to travel. You know, there's a statistic that I think it's 75% of Americans have never been to the beach.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, man.
I mean, who wants to go to the beach?
Right. No, but 75% of Americans, how fucking crazy is that?
Yeah.
There's another statistic saying that there's 70% of people that live in East LA never made it to the beach.
That's actually really, I mean.
It's surprising, but it's not surprising. I used to live in Santa Cruz County. In Santa Cruz County to San Francisco, it's a 90-minute drive, an hour and a half drive. I personally knew people that lived in Santa Cruz and Watsonville, Salinas. They'd never been to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is that even possible? So you get trapped, and this is what people are used to. But what I'm saying is when you travel somewhere else, there is no news. They're not trying to feed you with garbage and brainwash you.
Well, and it's like, the trying to not let it get to you. I mean, I feel like it's you just have to move forward with what's in front of you. And so if you watch too much of all this stuff going on in the world that you have no power over, like what's the point if you can't do anything about it?
And that's why they do it. They do it to make you feel underpowered. And more importantly, they do it to divide everybody. You know, before it was Trump, fuck Trump. I love Trump, fuck Trump, fuck you, fuck, you know. Now it's what is it? Masks, no masks, mask, no mask, and not vaccinated, not vaccinated. You know, they find whatever way to split the people up, because if you split up the people, then the government controls, and we rely on the government 100%. But if you have these states that are supposed to be united states and neighborhoods and people and colors, and if we unite and we got along with each other, the government would worry more. But obviously they don't worry, because they have everybody separated. And they have it separated by area code, by zip code, by the Latin people, by the white people, by the black people, by the Indian people, by the Chinese. It's fucking crazy how well they have us divided up.
Yeah.
They talk to kids and they say, hey, if your parents yell at you, or, you know, of course there's extreme shit, you know, we have to protect that.
Yeah.
But there's like little shit that it's like, oh, if your parents raise their voice at you, let us know, you know, they'll divide families up.
Yeah. No, it's, there's a lot of division, and it's not good. Like one of my values is being open and bringing people together. Like even if I don't agree with someone, like I need to hear them out. And,
what they're about.
And like that's, they're entitled to their beliefs and opinions, and that's not, it's
You're not going to judge or anything like that.
Yeah, it's crazy how, like, the whole cancel culture stuff just drives me crazy. Like, and I don't even, like, do social media anymore, basically. Like, I have profiles and stuff, but I haven't posted for, like, forever, just because it's, like, such a crazy environment that I don't really know how to participate in it, or am afraid to, or, like, don't want to.
They'll turn. And I was at a friend's house. He just bought a nice property on Malibu, like right on the ocean. And I took out a drone, and I was flying my drone on the coast.
Yeah.
Beautiful fucking video, you know, because it's just the water splashing. A seagull flew into the camera. Like this amazing drone shot.
Yeah.
I put it on my Facebook. It turned into a political war. A drone shot of the coast of California in Malibu turned into a political war. One guy took the video and said, you see, there is no global warming. These coasts have been like this. These houses have been built 60, 70, 80 years ago, and the water hasn't even moved one bit. Global warming is bullshit. No, it's not. Global warming's a real thing. And then it just, it had the most comments, the most views, but it was all political.
Yeah.
You know, Trump.
I mean, if you can use it, like,
right,
to get traction for your own.
Well, who would have thought a drone shot of Malibu? Like, come on.
All you have to do is, you know, post stuff that's like completely unpolitical, and then just have some friend make a political comment, and then get all the views
and turn it. How long has Erin been doing comedy?
It's probably been about 5 or more years. It's kind of been off and on. She mainly her focus was acting for a long time. Yeah. But then I mean, comedy just really started taking off for her. So the last 3 years she's been doing that like a lot. So that's been taking over more than acting for her. That's good, so, man. I was thinking about going back. Yeah. I started I want to say in 2010, I was working for Harley Davidson, and I was the general manager. Actually, at that location, I was the finance manager. And a good buddy of mine, his name's Dean Del Rey. I don't know if you know him, but he's a pretty big comedian right now. Yeah. He used to do rock and roll, and he traveled with all the bands, you know, for like the last 20 years. And then he ended up at that dealership. We were working together. And then when the dealership closed and moved to a different location, we're like, we're not going to go to Santa Clarita. This is stupid. You know, traffic, blah, blah, blah. So we started doing comedy. He's all, Robert, I'm taking a comedy class. Let's do comedy. So I did the comedy class. We started doing comedy. We did the Comedy Store, Ha Ha Cafe, you know, all the regular spots. Yeah. The Sunset Spot, the Improv, you know, et cetera. Jay Davis is a good friend of mine, and it was good. But I was going through a divorce, and then I was doing the whole, you know, trying to get my son. And, you know,
Honestly, there was probably a lot of good material I could have taken out of that whole experience, but because it was just so daunting and like just fucking a hassle that I just, stopped doing comedy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need a job. I got to pay these attorneys. I got to go pay court fees.
Yeah.
And I left it. And then in 2012, I wanted to launch a podcast and I didn't. 2014, I teamed up with somebody and I did a podcast finally. It was called The Man Cave Raw with me. And it was just going to be like fucking strippers serving drinks and man talk and hobbies and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, that didn't work out too well because of the partner. I was relying on him a lot. He had the equipment, etc.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't do this till 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, a buddy of mine that I just had lunch with today was like, just fucking do it. Get back into comedy and just start recording.
Yeah.
And anyways, now we're here 60 something episodes and I'm still struggling. I'm doing even more work, because you have what we were talking about. You have the audio guy.
I mean, you're basically a full like video producer, so
/ social media content / post / I gotta publish it / editor / like it's fucking crazy.
It's a lot. I mean,
it's a lot, but people are like, ooh, it's just a mic, and no, it's a lot of look. You just saved my ass today with the longer cable.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of equipment because my business partner just moved for the job and stuff, so I have all this audio equipment that I'm trying to figure out what to do with.
People are buying it all the time.
Yeah.
You can rent it out. You can sell it. I mean, renting out's a big business.
Yeah. There's and like with all the different like online platforms like ShareGrid and stuff, like there's a lot of options, but I don't know.
You don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
You'll think of something. Maybe I'll pick up some gear myself.
Yeah, I mean it's very specific. It's more like production, so like film production, kind of field gear. It's not as much like the studio type stuff. But
like what? Name off. So maybe somebody listening might need some of that stuff. Like what do you got?
Oh, just so it's like a Zoom F8 field recorder, and then random mics and mic packs.
Those Zoom 8s are amazing. Oh yeah, I have one.
Yeah, they're super versatile. Like the advancements in technology are amazing and incredible for self-producers. The price just keeps going down for like the quality you can get, and the technology makes it simpler.
Prices have gone down, but I've noticed you need extra stuff. Like you can't just buy a Zoom 8 and you're set. You got to buy the Zoom 8, then you got to buy the microphones, then you got to buy the cables, then you got to buy stands.
But that's just like a kit, that would be like, someone probably sells a kit of some sort for that.
Now, real quick on the Zoom 8, are you using the attachment? The mic attachment that you put on top of it, or you're just using it for?
Oh, so Zoom has a few different recorders. You probably have like a what you're describing sounds like a
it's like a field
HN2 or 4 or something like that.
No, it's an 8.
It's an 8. So is it?
It's right here.
Oh, this is okay. This is a whole different. This is like a production or for.
That's what I use for podcasts when I'm traveling.
H8. Okay, so what I have is F8, I believe. So this looks like it's more designed for like video producers, and they can mount it onto their camera rig. And
well, you could do that. Then there's a little attachment here where you could do like interviews, and it has 2 bi-directional mics.
Yeah. Yes.
You can hook up. You can hook up 4 mics, and what I do is it has a podcast mode.
Yeah.
And I do the podcast, and it sounds just like this.
Yeah.
It does basically what the Rodecaster does.
Yeah.
But instead of taking that with me, I put this because a lot of the places that I go on my motorcycle.
Yeah.
So I'll just pack up the Pelican. I'll put all the gear there, fucking ride out, set this up, put this on a tripod. I have, see that microphone?
Yeah.
See the stand? It's like it just folds up.
Yeah.
I'll use that and the cables and set.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I I love Zoom and like what they're doing, because the one I have is designed for it's a field recorder. It has eight channels, and like it's got a mixing interface and stuff on the front. So the Sound Device is a recorder company that typically is like the king of like the industry standard for recording for film, but they
and hold on, keep going. I'm just gonna turn on the heat.
Okay. So Sound Device, the F8 is basically filling that that market gap, or like competing with Sound Device, and Sound Devices typically go for upwards of $2,000 depending on the model you get, and they're really good. They're solid, but the F8 is a more affordable version. You could probably get one for around $800 used. I'm guessing. I haven't looked at it in a while, but so much more affordable, and honestly, the features of it are like fabulous. You can use it as an audio interface for your computer. So if you want to record directly to your computer, you can plug in a USB cable and have a quick and dirty audio interface and stuff. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. What percentage? Oh my God, that's terrible. Is that mine? I have no idea why it's raining. What's that called when they grab mics and they're just recording like weird sounds?
Oh, are you thinking of Foley or ASMR?
ASMR, I think.
Yeah.
Or they just have like a page or something. They just
ASMR is weird. I've joked about it and stuff before, but I don't even know what it stands for, to be honest. Like,
what was the joking around about it? Tell me.
Oh, I mean, just because I had a really crappy podcast I did.
Yeah.
It was called How to Go Nowhere. Like, I literally would just tape like do you know what a lav mic is?
Yeah, of course.
So I would just tape a lav mic like on, and then just talk about random crap while I did chores. And I have
sounds like a great idea.
I have a really monotone voice. So the idea was like, someone needs to fall asleep, they could just listen to this, and I'll talk about something super boring. So I did a one on ASMR, but I don't.
That sounds like a great idea. How many did you do?
Oh, it was like three. I didn't do. It was kind of just a.
So you want to do something, but you stopped doing it. Then you started doing that, and you stopped doing it, and now
I got to learn how to finish. Yeah, that's the
man?
theme. No,
I think it was a meme I saw on Instagram or something. It's funny because everybody sees the same thing, but it's Denzel Washington, and he says, "If you don't commit, you won't start. If you're not consistent, you'll never finish."
Yeah,
and it's very true.
Yeah.
This podcast, I was pretty consistent. I kind of had a partner. We were working on it, and we were going to make it into something big. He did all the images. So if you look at the Instagram feed at the beginning, it was fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
But then that didn't work out. Then I still continued. And then I kind of fell off. I got into a project a few months ago, and I kind of fell off. And then luckily, this last 2 weeks, I just been getting people calling me like, "Hey, can I do the podcast with you?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I did one last Friday that I published today. I'm doing this one today. I got another one tomorrow. Got another one on Monday. Got another one on Wednesday. So all of a sudden, randomly, just started picking up, and I'm like, you know what? Okay.
Yeah.
This is what I got to focus on, because
I
have a good friend of mine, Cash. He's in Colombia, and his last name's Cash, so we call him Cash. He always told me, because what you're telling me, I feel like we have a lot in common. But he told me, he goes, "Robert, why is it every time somebody has a new project, you stand behind them and you execute and you work your ass off and you believe in that project like crazy?" Yeah. I go, "Okay, what's your point?" He says, "How come you don't do that with your own projects?"
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a valid point, because if you were to come up with an idea like, "Oh, I want to do this," I'd be like, "Holy shit, let's do it for us. Let's go for it,
Yeah.
But I have so much going on that it's like I'm doing it, but it's at a minimal.
Yeah.
You know, and it's weird that I'm like that.
No,
That many people are like that.
Yeah, that's really solid. Like I relate to that a lot. I don't know if it's personality types or anything like going down that whole rabbit hole, but
I think
it's easier to believe in someone else than yourself.
that,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't work out, their idea failed.
Yeah.
You know, not my idea.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's stupid. At the end of the day, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you really have to commit. And there's a book I'm reading right now. It's called How to Get Shit Done.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. You know, it's just fucking meditate and write down your goals. You know, work out, and you know, give love to your loved ones.
Yeah.
Send a little note to your wife before you go to work. Send a text message and make sure you work out and make sure you have your goals and make sure you meditate.
Yeah.
You know, so straight out. But I do that, and now I'm gonna use the traction that I got now to try to really focus on this. And then I have a cleaning product. That's why I have the storage in the back.
Yeah.
I have a motorcycle cleaner, and that's been picking up a lot too.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like fuck. Okay, let's put the podcast and ride clean and get it going, moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, so you are originally from LA or no?
No, I'm from Northern California. Do you know where Redding is?
I know exactly where Redding's at.
Okay, yeah. Most people, I call it the forgotten part of California because
Sons of Anarchy went a lot to Redding, but I know Redding because I used to live in San Francisco.
Yeah,
I lived in the Central Coast and I lived in Southern California.
Yeah, yeah. No, because like I grew up thinking San Francisco was Southern California.
Hilarious.
And then I've come to terms with accepting that it's Central California. So
San Francisco.
Yeah,
You're considering it Central still? I guess.
I mean, there's.
They don't describe it.
It was a 4-hour drive from where I grew up to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's.
But have you ever been to the Central Coast? Monterey, Santa Cruz, Salinas, once?
I've actually driven on the Monterey racetrack.
Nice. Laguna Seca?
Sorry, what?
The racetrack in Monterey is called Laguna Seca.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
The famous one where they do the Ferrari race, the motorcycle races.
It sounds like a joke, but it was actually an accident. I was lost, and they had a gate open.
No. Yeah. And you drove into Laguna Seca, into the track?
Yeah, in my
and were
Ford
they racing?
Focus, and they fortunately not.
That sounds like a Prius move.
But yeah, this was before the Prius, the Ford Focus when it had the Prius position. No,
right.
No. Yeah, and then like some guy, there was an event there that I was for, so it wasn't like random, but the event just didn't advertise like where to go very well. So
you ended up on the track.
So I ended up on the racetrack, and then I'm like, shoot, this is obviously not right. And then like some guy comes out from one of the pit stops or something, comes running out, yelling at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, "I'm a little lost," and he's like, "No shit." Like,
wow, that is so crazy.
So
it's their fault that even happened.
But yeah, like I was just like, the gate, like you guys should close that, because they were about to start a race. I don't know much about racing, but they're like small, almost go-kart type cars. So
it's a famous track.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been, because it's a figure 8, right?
Well, they have a figure 8, and then they have this big track that's really technical.
Yeah,
very technical.
Okay.
I've seen, it's such a crazy track. I've seen the Concurso Italiano, where they have Ferraris just racing there.
Yeah.
You know? I've raced it. I didn't race it. I took a motorcycle out there, Buell, which partnered up with Harley Davidson. They made a street bike.
Yeah.
And it was the launch of the 1125, and I got to ride that on that track.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And then right now they're doing the King of the Baggers, the big like you've seen my Harley, right?
Yeah.
Now they're racing bagger bikes.
Okay. Do you have an electric bike?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was we had a guy here looking at the charge point stations, and like your bike was parked next to it, and we were like, wait, is that? It looks like because they model it to look like a typical bike, but yeah, we were like debating on if it was electric or not. Sorry.
Yeah, that's Harley Davidson's Livewire.
Yeah.
And Harley Davidson released that a few years ago. And the crowd or the hardcore Harley riders were kind of upset. People were acting like little Karens, like that's not a Harley. That's an electric bike. Yeah. That's an electric bike, blah, 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 blah. So so Harley spinned off the company Livewire.
Yeah.
And they made it its own identity. They still own it, but it's not a Harley, it's a Livewire. And it's basically Harley parts. I mean, I still have the bar and shield Harley Davidson stuff all over it. The key fobs are the same, but they reduced the price, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And that thing gets 95 highway and 140 city. Yeah. And it's all electric. I have it in my living room.
Yeah.
I just keep it in the living room. And as a matter of fact, the episode I just released today was a whole EV episode about motorcycles and cars, and they're doing races, etc. And not more than likely, but it looks like we're raffling that bike off.
Yeah.
So tickets are going to sell for $100 on the rideclean.co website. With that $100, you're going to get a bottle of Ride Clean, a microfiber, and a 2-ounce spray bottle, and you get a free entry to win the bike.
Yeah.
And we're going to announce it on May 22nd at an event they're hosting, an EV event. And hopefully we sell a bunch of tickets from here to then.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. Like
It's fast.
I don't know much about motorcycles, but visually I was really impressed with the design.
The aesthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a sexy bike. Yeah. It's a sexy bike. There's some modifications I'd want to do, but that's just me being picky. I've been riding bikes for close to 25 years. But I've had the bike for 6 months, and I didn't ride it a lot. Yeah. And then this past weekend, I rode it out to Malibu. And going in the canyons, I was like, fuck, this is actually a really cool bike. Like the suspension, for a stock Harley Davidson, it's amazing.
How is, I know with electric motors, typically like torque is much more of an issue.
It's all torque.
Where you get like a lot of,
it's all torque.
So do they have to throttle that or how's that managed? Like, is that, because that seems, when you have that on a bike, that seems like that could be tricky.
I think that's where the traction control comes in and it keeps it balanced. But when you turn that throttle, it's all torque. Yeah. And it's 0 to 60 in, I think, 3 seconds.
Yeah.
For a small bike like that, and you feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the traction control does it so you don't fly up and oh my god, and, kill yourself.
That's what I was like. I was like, man, on a motorcycle with an electric motor, it seems gotta manage that somehow.
Yeah, it's definitely the traction control, and there's probably, the guy that was on here Friday, he knows more about it, Diego, but the bike handles and performs outstanding. And then to charge it, like once I got to Malibu, I just charged it. It was $2.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking amazing. And now that I agreed to raffle it off, I'm like, I don't want to raffle it off. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But it's going to be good for Ride Clean. It'll be good for the podcast. And, if it works out, maybe I'll be able to buy another one and raffle that one off and just kind of do this consistently.
Yeah.
To get some marketing. But it's fun. And then it's just, there's no clutch. There's no gear shifting. There's nothing. It's just a lever and brakes. Front brake, back brake, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like a bike. It's like the Super 73s.
Yeah.
Very easy. It's just like riding a bike.
I mean, I've only ridden dirt bikes, so.
That's how I started, and that's how a lot of people start.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Bay Area or Northern California, a lot of people ride bike. California in general, people grow up.
Yeah.
Riding bikes.
The biggest thing, like practically, I've wanted to, because it just makes a lot of sense. My dad, basically my whole family, would more or less disown me if I got into riding motorcycles.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that. Look, I bought my first Harley Davidson. I think I was 20. Yeah. I think I was 20. And when I bought it, I was parking it at a friend's house because my mom would disown me. My mom would kill me. You know.
Yeah.
Anyways, after 3 days, I was like, this is bullshit. I got a brand new motorcycle. I can't even look at it because it's at a friend's house. Fuck this. I'm bringing it home. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, at 19, 20, I was living with my mom. Yes. And I rode the bike, and when I pulled into the house, and we were living in Santa Cruz County at the time, when I pulled in the bike, you know, it's like, my mother opens the window, and she says, nice bike. And I was like, right? She's like, yeah. And that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. I never got any shit after that.
Yeah.
But before that moment, it was like, if you get a motorcycle, I'm going to disown you. It's irresponsible, blah, 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 blah. You know, I heard it all.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to convince you, you know, but it's fun.
Oh man. When I was in
no traffic.
No, seriously, in LA, it's like the dream. When I was in
California, I mean, how do you not?
Yeah, so many beautiful roads and stuff. Like
so many.
Yeah, and when I was in 6th grade, my uncle bought me a dirt bike, and I think it was a 60. So for my size, it was a little powerful, but it was fun. And I rode it around for a while, but then my parents were like, we can't get him on this track, like going down this, and they sold it and got a go-kart instead. But
boring.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah. No, it's my dad grew up riding a lot. He rode motorcycles, and he had a close call. And after that,
I have close calls all the time. I mean, I walk across the street to the park and there's a close call.
Yeah.
You know, like it's the only requirement to die is to be alive. That's it.
I mean, it's guaranteed, right?
It's guaranteed. It's the only thing guaranteed.
Yeah.
That and taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes and death is the only thing guaranteed.
Yeah.
I love skydiving. I love last week I took Belle out to Temecula.
Yeah.
And we jumped on a hot air balloon. And have you ever been on a hot air balloon?
No, I haven't.
My first time.
I haven't done a ton with heights.
With heights?
Yeah.
Okay. Number one, it's fucking crazy. It's crazy. You're just going up in a hot air balloon, and it's just that. It's a hot air balloon. Wherever the wind takes you, you don't know where you're going to land. You don't know when you're going to land. You have no control.
Yeah.
Okay? It's steady. It's very steady. Like you feel, it's the weirdest thing in the world. You feel you're standing on the ground. It's so steady. Like there's no movement. There's no flex. It is, you feel like you're standing on this table and you're flying. Okay? And then it does it for about an hour. They have fuel for an hour and a half. At an hour, they start looking for where they're going to land. You know, like that's, and there's a van following you.
Yeah.
The van's got to catch you and they got to help you and blah, blah, blah. And the landing's wild, but the flying experience is, it's mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. Like you're like, wow, this is beautiful. And look at the birds and look at am I in a basket just floating in the air? Holy fuck, I'm in a basket floating in the fucking air. This is wild. And then once you land, we had a rough landing. It was fun, totally worth it. But we had we landed in a construction site. There was a construction site. They were digging up dirt, and that's where we landed. Like that's luckily Temecula's got like a bunch of friends. So we landed there. It almost tilted over. We almost got dragged, but we didn't, and we made it. And then when we went back to the winery, they gave us champagne. This is at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. We're drinking champagne, and then the guy says, tradition is you're supposed to do a prayer before you take off, but that would scare a lot of people. So now we do the prayer afterwards. So let me do the prayer. Cheers, drink champagne, have fun. I was like, oh, shit. So it's pretty intense, but I recommend it.
Yeah.
You been to Temecula?
I mean, through it.
I've done the same thing. I've been through it for about 5 years. Never thought of anything about it. Never cared for it. Nothing. This time I stayed out there for 2 days. It's a nice place.
Yeah.
Take Aaron out there. Nice wineries, good fucking activities, nice restaurants, fresh food. They have the balloons. They have skydiving. They have laser tag. They have golf. it's a nice spot.
Yeah.
I like it better than Palm Springs. Palm Springs is cool, but Palm Springs for me is like a weekend. You know, Temecula I could see like going out there for like 4 or 5 days, or taking the whole family and doing activities.
Yeah, yeah. No, the only association I have to Palm Springs is my grandparents live there, so I think of it as a retirement
place. Yeah, like Florida or something.
Because my grandpa has arthritis, so they had to move there for the weather or something.
Yeah, that happens in Florida a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, our anniversary is coming up next month, so
congrats.
So maybe that's something to plan there.
Let me know. I know a couple spots out there. I can point you at the right direction. Yeah. I thought it was very, like, everything was very fair price. Like, very fair price. Nothing crazy. Nothing silly. You know, like I'll say right now, the balloon was, 2 people, $350. That's not bad to fly. So, and the experience we had. So that was about $350. I met the owner. I think in 2 weeks I'll have him on the podcast. His name's Rusty, and I think he'll be on the podcast. He's been doing it since 1989. He flies. He says there's maybe 20 days out of the year that he doesn't fly. But since 1989, he's flying 330 days out of the year.
Yeah.
And the landing we had was, he goes, that's the craziest one I've had in a minute. Landing in a construction site, getting dragged, almost flipping over. That was the craziest one. That doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't even happen that.
It's wild. They have no steering,
0.
like no control, like
nothing.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
And check this out. Where we were going to take off from was too windy. So like, all right, guys, everybody jump in the van. We're going to go to a different place. And they just drive around for 10, 15 minutes. Oh, look, a field. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
They grab a balloon. They just grab a regular balloon. They put air, tie it up.
Just kind of see
and
where
they
it
let
goes.
it go. And this thing's just like, no, not this place. Let's go somewhere else. Jump in the van. And then you go to another field, and you're like, "Isn't this trespassing? What the fuck is going on? Whose land is this? What do we do? Do we have permission?" Yeah. And this is a good spot. Balloon, launch it up. Okay, this is a good spot. They fill it in, jump in. You're like, "What? Jump in?" Okay, all right. I signed the waiver. Fuck it, and up you go, and up you go. Within 10 minutes, I think 10, 15 minutes tops. The balloon's inflated and ready to go.
Yeah.
So It's wild. It's crazy, but it's so worth it.
Yeah.
The worst thing that could happen, the 2 worst things that can happen, and obviously this is very extreme, is one, you run out of fuel, but they have an idea. Like that's very, very, very slim. Can it happen? Yeah, but it's very slim. Number 2, you have a rough landing. Like that's really the worst thing, that you can fall, hit hard, maybe get dragged. People have gotten fucked up. It has handles and you can like tuck in, but that's like they're doing it every day.
Yeah.
And you see, at least I saw 20, 30 other fucking hot air balloons.
Yeah.
So that means every day there's 50 to 100 just in Temecula.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like you would see that with all the news we have if there were more casualties or anything.
No, it's pretty fucking safe. Yeah. It's pretty safe. It's just mind-boggling that you're in a basket floating in the air.
Yeah.
And you get pretty high. But it's beautiful. I'll show you the videos. It's fucking outstanding. I think that's a great idea. And then, like I said, they have many wineries. They have amazing restaurants. They have a nice casino. They have Pachanga Casino, so you can just like slip in there, throw in $20, try your luck.
Yeah.
And fucking just, it's a good spot.
Cool. Yeah.
It's a good spot. So what do you think of the setup? You came here to check out the audio, the setup, the video.
Yeah, surprised me with doing the podcast. No,
yeah, I tricked you.
No.
Got you drunk.
I mean, one IPA is.
I know. I got to
get
more. I have hard.
Do better than
yeah,
that.
I have hard liquor all day. Yeah. But beer, like I was like, fuck, I only have 2 beers. This is terrible.
I mean,
are you a beer guy or you drink liquor?
I might have had some rum in my coffee this morning.
Damn.
I probably shouldn't say that online.
No, you could say it. Nobody cares. Trust me, my channel.
It was
the people who listen
was-
to my channel are all
yeah.
bikers and fucking
Yeah.
badasses.
No,
So that's,
it was mostly because I poured the rum last. It was a bottle Aaron got from Trader Joe's, and
they got good stuff.
okay, then this
I don't know about
wasn't
the
it.
rum.
I don't know what. Yeah, like we.
I don't know about
did
the rum, but their tequila's pretty fucking delicious.
Okay.
And I'm picky with my tequila.
Yeah, I'm not much of a tequila guy, and honestly, this rum almost tasted more like tequila to me than rum. Like, it's not like a spiced rum or anything. It's very, the color's really weak. It's not like caramely
Oh,
color.
that's weird.
And like, yeah, it just didn't have any spice or anything to it.
What kind of rum do you usually drink?
I mean, Sailor Jerry's is the go-to. It's cheap and good. I don't know.
Have you ever had Havana Club?
No.
Okay, I gotta get you some Havana Club.
Yeah, but yeah. So I poured it like last night to have some, and then I was just like, oh. So I threw it in my coffee this morning because I was like, gotta use it up.
So you really had rum this morning?
Yeah.
Fucking alcoholic. I'm kidding.
I know, man.
Trust me, I'm talking about drinking champagne and stuff and getting on balloons.
No,
So.
I joke. I have some friends that joke about that with me, but it took me a long time before I started drinking because I have a lot of alcoholics in my family. So I was.
What's your like background nationality?
I mean nationality. Gosh, I don't know how.
Like your ancestry or
Yeah.
something like Irish.
I say Scotch Irish because of my
Scotch-Irish.
name, McBride. But
1,000%. Yeah.
But yeah, I because Aaron and I have traveled to like the UK, and we go to Ireland, and they say, oh no, that name's Scottish, and with the Scottish accent, I'm not even gonna try accents. And then we go to Scotland, and they say it's Irish. So I'm like, I don't know what it is.
You're too American for them. They're like, fuck this guy. We can't claim him. You fucked it up.
Yeah, I think it's one of the islands in between the two is my theory.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Have you ever done that ancestry or anything?
I haven't. My grandparents have. So that's on my mom's side, and that was largely German and Irish. So I don't know, all the different combinations of white, basically.
Oh
Yeah.
All the mixes.
Yeah, and then my dad's side. I mean, we don't.
You're a white mutt.
I mean, that's like, I feel like most white people, and my dad's side is Finnish. My great grandparents were immigrants from Finland, so whatever that would be, like a 16th or 32nd, I don't know. So that's like the most.
What do you mean,
direct.
16th or 32nd?
Fraction of how much
Of percentage of
yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I could work back. So half, fourth, 16th. Yeah. I don't know. So but yeah. I get Scotch Irish is kind of what I lean into the most. But so the history we know of my family on my McBride side is actually the Mormon. So like they were part of the handcart crossings to Utah way back in the day. And
Mormons rule a lot, huh? Especially in those areas?
Yeah.
Utah and
Well, yeah. Are you familiar with the handcart crossings? So have you heard of like the Donner Party? So basically there was a really big
I haven't.
storm, freeze that happened. And so the Donner Party is notorious for getting trapped in the snow and then like cannibalizing each other, basically.
Oh, shit.
So as people froze to death, that's how they survived. They ate the frozen people, I guess. So it's like something I learned in public school growing up, and then later found out my family was the group right before the Donner Party, apparently. So my however many great grandfathers, he was a kid at the time, they found him in the morning. They thought he was dead because he wasn't getting up, but his head was just frozen to the ground, apparently. So
he was stuck.
So he was just stuck there. So he survived, but then his dad died
He's got a bite mark on his leg.
Helping people cross a river, so he froze to death or something.
Oh my God, that's fucking terrible.
I think it was like hypothermia or something like that. But
that's crazy. That shit happens.
So
and it happens all the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, but so here we are now. Yeah, but
we made it
back in the day when life was much
more who
tough.
Knows, man? Yeah. If there's a World War III, World War IV is gonna be fought with sticks, you know?
Yeah, that's an Einstein quote, right?
I think so.
Or something like that.
Darwin or something like that.
Yeah.
But Aaron being a comedian reminds me of a. I was in New York at the comedy at the stand up. I think it's a stand up or something like that.
Yeah.
And there was this one girl comedian, and I'm not saying anything about girl comedy, but this one stood out. She was really fucking good.
Yeah.
And she had this one joke. I wish I knew her name, but she had this one joke. She goes, So I had diarrhea, and I was hungry, and I like Chipotle, so I was like, I gotta go to Chipotle, right? So when I walked into Chipotle, one of the employees is like, "You can't come in here with your own diarrhea, like, get out of here. We give you diarrhea. You can't." What did she think? You know, it was so funny. I was like, I like that one. No, she was good. Actually, New York had a lot of great comedians.
Yeah,
I like to go to stand up and just watch them.
Yeah, Erin hasn't really done New York yet. We've traveled a few different places where she's done some stuff, like Austin and North Carolina and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Her style is more. She's dry and
she's gonna hear this.
Yeah, probably. No, like I'm just saying this is stuff she says.
It's a style, yeah. It's her style.
It's not a lot of like really LA style. I feel like I don't know how to describe it very well, but it's more almost like British humor.
Yeah.
Than because is
she doing online stuff?
Not really. I'm trying to get her help her get started on.
If there was only somebody she knew that was good with audio and video and editing and publishing.
I know.
Man.
Yeah.
If anybody's out there, please reach out to liveboundless.x@gmail. Aaron needs help.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I made her a website and everything, just like super basic, and keep trying to get her to use it. I'm like, post your stuff on here.
Why? But it's back to what I was saying earlier. Why is it that if I hire you and pay you just whatever, some cash, just like, bro, look, I can't afford more, but I need help, you will step up. I'm sure you will do an amazing job than if it's with for our wife or our brother, because I do this shit all the time.
Yeah.
And I why is that?
Well,
why the fuck is that?
I think it's like just freelancing for a while. When I first started out, I would do a lot of gigs that were just for like friends or whatever. And so if it's an unpaid project, it's always so much harder to scrounge up the motivation to work on that versus like if I have someone who's like, hey, like I can pay you even if it's not like much, it's, versus a paid project. The paid project usually takes priority. So I don't know if that applies to personal projects as well.
The problem is, and again, this is something we're all struggling with. I mean, this is something I'm number one. I'm trust me, I'm more guilty at this than you are, 100%. But it's like I know the potential of this is going to be so much bigger in 5 years to 10 years versus this. But I would rather, like my friend Dean Del Rey would say, I would rather step on $100 bills and collect the change than to chase and reach for the $100 bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's something that's like in our mind that we're brainwashed with. That we don't see that. Yeah. And this happens especially with like, it's like that quote. I don't even know who said it or if it was a meme or something, but it's like your biggest fan is always a stranger, and your biggest hater is somebody you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of something like that. And it's weird because the stuff that you think would be easy, it's like anything. Even something free. If I got something free and I gave you that free thing, most of the time people saying, it was free for him anyways. There was no value to it.
Yeah.
Even though it probably had a lot of value. Like, this is cool. I got this free, my nationality is Cuban. I'm American, but, my background's Cuban. I love Cuba. So if I get a Cuban flag and I got it for free, and I'm like, bro, this is really cool. I got it for free. It's for you. You'd be like, oh, you got it for free? Yeah. But if I would charge you like $4 or $5, you'd be like, oh my God, look, Robert's Cuban and this is his flag, and I bought $5. I'm going to hang it. You know what I mean? It's so weird how we're fucking programmed like this.
Yeah.
And it's a very American mentality. It's very, and it's, I don't think there's an easy answer to it. I believe it's something that we've been brainwashed for years to think a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's weird because if you look at the overall system, it's true. We all think very similar. It's not just you and me dealing with this bullshit. It's Aaron to you, and you to Aaron, and me to Bell, and Bell to this. It's this thing that's just, it's just so fucking weird. But like when you step out and think about it, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
I mean, especially in LA, like you hear it every day. Everybody you talk to is trying to do whatever, trying to do something, like chase some dream. But it's just, we all get stuck.
Everybody gets stuck. The other thing that drives me crazy about LA is a simple example. If I hire somebody from Home Depot, hypothetically, and I pay them to do a job, they do a great fucking job. And I give them a job for 3 days, they will kill and do an amazing job. But the next moment that I need something else, and I reach out to that person and I want to use their services, they show up late. They don't care. They're prioritizing other people. Like, it's just a shit show. It's just a shit show. This happened to my buddy. He has the building over here. He had a worker like that. And he's like, after more work that you give them, they're just like, they don't want it.
Yeah.
And they prioritize other people. And that's something people do in production, in social media. And, like, it's so fucking, we got to figure this out before we end this podcast.
Don't get me started on vendors.
But do you get that? Like, the first time's really good and the second time it's terrible?
Yeah. I have no idea
What's your experience on that? Give me an example. Window installations, doors.
Oh, I mean, it's just
all of it.
Basically the, I deal a lot with the contractors who built this building, because the first year everything's under warranty, and that's a whole different dynamic where it's like, all right, we got to go do this work. We're not getting paid for this because it's a warranty job, and so that's just a whole nother thing. But
has it been? No, it hasn't been a year yet.
No, it's
about there.
2 months. Yeah,
2 more months.
Yeah. So,
and that's when everything goes to shit. When the warranty expires.
Oh no! Then we can get whoever we want to work on it.
Right, that's true too.
So, no, I mean,
but isn't that weird that, like, you have a car and it's like 3 years, 36,000 miles, 5 years, 60,000 miles, and you're good, but then as soon as it hits 60,000, it's like,
planned obsolescence is the like technology, like computers and stuff. It's
everything.
Like, it's like as soon as that Apple Care expires, they're like, all right.
But remember, I think it was a year ago, 2 years ago, that they confronted Apple.
Yeah,
that they were doing that, like slowing down their things, fucking up the charges. It was a big thing.
Was it actually? I mean, it
was confirmed. They brought it out. They even apologized.
Yeah.
And same thing. I remember.
Yeah. I had that happen. I got a Mac for when I went to college, because I grew up on Windows. So it was my first Mac, and I it's a great computer, like, and stuff. But man, I had basically that happen where, like, the month the warranty, like the Apple Care expired, it like died, and they wouldn't do anything about it. So
yeah, and they're a little bit of assholes once you're past that warranty, or if you like get a damage and you don't have the insurance, they're like zero fucks given.
Yeah, well, and it was just basically just like, oh yeah, you just have to get a new computer. This is 3 years old, like whatever. But that's thousands of dollars, basically. You know,
$2,000, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a $2,000, $3,000 computer.
yeah. So I went back to Windows at that point.
Are you back on Windows now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with both pretty well. Erin still has a MacBook Air.
Well, because she's creative.
Yeah. Hey,
Everybody's creative. Hey.
Hey, there's a lot. I mean, because the
kidding.
only reason I
So
got
kidding.
an Apple was Final Cut
Yeah.
Pro and like different programs like that that I needed for film production. But then Final Cut Pro kind of became less.
Final Cut 10, I think, was the one that just kind of fucked them up, right?
Yeah. So what happened with 10 or X is
Right, X.
is they went whatever. They
Sorry.
they went more like consumer, which isn't a bad move for them with the way everything's going. But they went more like consumer focused, where it was less technical and more just like automatic and stuff. And so
But that one really fucked them up.
for industry wise, I mean that kind of then.
But I don't see regular people using Final Cut. They still use iMovies.
Yeah, I mean,
That one really fucked them up. I even switched. I'm not good at it. I suck at it. But I even switched to Adobe Premiere.
Yeah. I mean, a Premiere and Resolve are basically like all I hear about anymore. So
How's your so you know how to edit and fix audio?
yeah. So
I might need your skills for that.
Yeah, so I do did post audio. I don't know, whatever. It's all a weird mash of whatever I'm doing at the current moment. But yeah, so I do audio mixing. Pro Tools is the industry standard for that one, but I again use something different. So
GarageBand.
no, dear Lord, no. I use a program called Reaper, and it's fairly, not a lot of people are familiar with it, but it's I love it.
I feel like I've heard it, but I don't know about it.
Yeah, it's popular in the game industry world. So like we kind of were turned on to it when we started doing like virtual reality and stuff like that, because it's very programmable. And I have a background with programming and stuff, so I was able to write my own scripts within it to do different functions. And it has a steep learning curve is the main thing. I've tried turning a few friends onto it because it's really affordable program and everything, but everybody I've tried to introduce it to is just like, this is too hard to learn. Like, I'm just using GarageBand. So
it's getting to that point that if you don't have an app that you can use it from your phone, it's like, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? You know, it has to. My schedule is really, like we talked about this the other day. When you have your own schedule, you make your own schedule. It's very hard. It's very hard because you can lose a day, a week. You know, if you don't start doing what you're supposed to do. And, you know, sometimes I say, fuck it, you know, let me just start editing this and just get it out of the way. And I start running into problems. I'm like, this ain't even worth it. Let me just go back to the old school.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get used to Premiere. Now I know the basics, and now I can, you know, do a decent edit, you know, put the audio and video together. But, you know, it's if it's complicated, what's the fucking point?
Well, and there's always
that
like
cheapness. It's like there's a quote a friend of mine says all the time, and I love it. I've been using it a lot. I cannot afford to buy cheap shit.
Yeah.
I can't. It costs more. I can't afford it. You end up replacing it 3, 4, 5 times. Yeah. You know, so the learning curve or the amount of time that you lose, you know, on a cheaper software, it's like it's weird.
Yeah. Well, and it's like that factor of how much are you using it? What are you using it for? Right. So that's when it's hard. Like I have a lot of people that will ask me like tips for you know, making their own thing, doing a podcast, for example, or something like that. And it's very different than what I'm experienced with, because it's like, well, I mean, you're going to want something that's simple and easy. Like that's something that is an easier point of entry is going to get done, versus if it's too complicated, you're going to more likely give up and you're not going to have that consistency. So I have a tendency to complicate things. So that's one of.
And some people operate that way. They love. I know a guy that he loves complicating shit.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's saving money, and he's not. Like, like he does weird shit, you know, like I'll go to a store and this costs $1. He'll be like, I can get this for 80 cents across town. And he'll drive, you know, in traffic an hour, pay for parking, you know. He'll spend $3 to save 20 cents.
Yeah.
And forget the money, the time. And there's just people that are like that.
Yeah. I mean, I hope I'm not too extreme at that. It's something I definitely realize.
You enjoy it.
So
yeah.
Sorry, that's my
did
alarm.
Did we hit 7?
Yeah.
When did we start? 5:30?
I think it was like 5:30. So
okay, I'm only gonna let you go when you commit to me on the podcast what you're gonna focus on for yourself. What do you want to end this year with for yourself? Like what do you really want? Like what career, what business, what do you want?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of distractions. You know, like
be the hero of your own movie.
A lot of times I'm like, oh, if I just, carpentry sounds nice. Just go work with my hands, build something, and
what sounds nice. What do you want to do?
But that's just a distraction. And I think my real passion is telling stories that move people and working with friends to do that. So I think getting a group of friends together to make something and start creating content. I don't know.
You should do a podcast to add to it, and record it live.
Yeah.
Seriously, like make it part of the process.
Yeah.
And you already have a group of friends already that you're dealing this with, right? Or people that you have in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I have quite a few friends with a lot of like that I really believe in, but the list, it seems like every month the list gets smaller as people move away. But yeah.
We'll create something to keep people here.
Yeah.
You know, a motivational, a business, an idea.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to get friends. So you commit to yourself that you are going to try to get together with, you're not going to try. You're going to get together with friends.
Yeah.
And start writing, producing, directing.
I think starting with a sketch comedy channel, and probably figuring out which platforms we would release that on, but just doing sketches, comedy sketches.
How many comedy sketches do you think you could get done by the end of the year?
By the end of the year, shoot for at least a dozen.
A dozen?
Yeah, like
that's realistic.
12.
That's not overboard.
Well, because I'm
sure you could do it weekly or.
Ideally, like the production workflow would be writing out like 4 or 5 of them and then shooting them all in one go.
Okay, so commit to 10.
Yeah.
Commit to a minimum of 10 by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Do you know any female comedians?
I might be able to.
And then because she's going to the comedy store and doing these open mics and doing shows, I imagine you have unlimited of artists, unlimited
Yeah.
Okay, so you're coming into 10.
All right. 10 sketches. Yeah.
10 short sketches, comedy sketches.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to release this episode next week, and we have it planned.
All right. Thanks for
Thank you, man. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So the equipment's good.
Yeah, no, this is better than I could recommend. I would have some complicated, annoying to
arm
work with.
And blah blah blah.
Yeah, no, this is cool. It's kind of cool seeing the technology they have, where it's just like you got the Rodecaster kind of doing its thing. And
have you seen the Rodecaster? What it does and all that, all the sound effects and everything.
I not in depth, but I kind of poked around at it a little bit.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I didn't hear anything.
Oh. Aha.
Oh, there. Yeah, nice.
I should use those a lot more often, but I don't because.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, and you can record. You could have up to 68 different sounds.
Yeah,
cool. So it's cool. It has cool stuff like that. 4 mics, 4 headphones. You can hook it up to the computer through USB-C.
Yeah.
It's a great piece of equipment.
Yeah.
It's a great piece of equipment. But like I said, this does the exact same thing.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, like we talked about, simplifying, and technology just making that easier and easier. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, until next time, maybe I'll check up with you at the end of the year, see where you stand.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
See you.
Talk to you soon. Cool. I had no idea